Man, I am so glad you all are here. We are going to have one big day. I promise you. I am not going to let you down. We've got some great speakers. We got a lot of information. We're going to start out strong. The fact that you all got in your cars, got in your planes, flew here. Where's my Canadian doctor? Got here at midnight last night. There's some of you, several. There she is. I know it took a lot of effort and a lot of work to get here. This morning, we're going to dive in deep, and I want you guys to lean forward, and I want you to really spend time with this. I will tell you that every time I do a morning wake up, every time I do a Tuesday night live, we do a workshop. I think you guys have been here with us in the family for a long time now. You figured out that it's never the same material twice. I don't look at old material. I don't repeat anything. What I do is I talk to you all on the phone. We have coaching calls or just conversations. And I read. I read my chiropractic. I spend time with it. I pray. I really think about what's important, and I let God speak to me. And then this stuff comes. And what was interesting was I put all this together, and I went through it, and I felt really good about it. And then this week, with all the coaching calls that I did, I think I had 30 some, I smiled at every single coaching call because everything we talked about is what we're getting ready to talk about today. So it's interesting how God put it on my heart to speak directly to you. So I want you guys to lean in. This didn't come from me. This came for you. You guys ready? Yeah. Let's do this. Now I'm going to ask you guys something. I want you today, this morning, I'm going to ask you some questions. And I'm not asking just to give me something to stand up here and talk about. I'm asking for you to dig into your heart and really answer this question for yourself. And you might not answer it today, but it's something I want you to spend time with. You've been given a gift. Chiropractors, we've all been given a gift. Now this gift can literally change, improve, in some cases, save the lives of others. Chiropractors, this is what separates us from all other professions. We have been given this gift. It's a knowledge, it's an understanding, it's a knowing that we can change, improve. And I have witnessed the saving, literally a dying child was diagnosed, probably won't make it through the night. Immediately from a chiropractic adjustment, I watched the machine change, heart rate come down, respirations come up, go home the next day when they were saying that the child won't. I've seen it. You all understand, chiropractors, I'm speaking right to you, Miss Heather, that you've been given a gift. It's a gift that was given to you from your Lord, from your God, from your Creator. Here, I give this to you. If you understand what I'm saying, say yes. Yes. But I got a big question. Why do you care? What difference does it make if someone else is healthy? Why do you care? What difference does it make? There's billions of people on this planet. There's strangers all over the place. You guys can go to the mall, you can go to Walmart, you can go to a coffee shop, you can go anywhere. You can go last night and have dinner, and there's people all over the place. Why did you give a damn if they're healthy or not? Why do you care? It's a big question. It's the question that I asked myself. I'm sitting at my desk and I'm thinking about the profession, and I'm thinking about myself, and I'm thinking about the doctors I'm talking to, and I'm asking this question. We've got this gift. We know we can help. But who cares? Why do we care? Where does it come from? And a great big question to all of you is, what are you going to do with this gift? Who's it for? You? Just you? Your outcome? This right here is what separates chiropractors from people with chiropractic degrees. They are distinctly two different people. I deal with all of them. Where's Reed at? Reed, raise your hand. Reed's dealing with something right now out in Montana that they're passing a bill. They're trying to get chiropractors for pharmaceutical rights. The idiots that are trying to pass that bill, are they chiropractors or are they idiots with chiropractic degrees? Yeah, I said it out loud, Reed, and you can tell them I said that too. Oh, well, you know I will. So, I've asked you some important questions. You've been given a gift. Why do you care? Where does it come from? Where is that love? That angst, that sense of urgency for someone else. Where does it come from? And why? Why do you care? What, do you want to do it for you, or do you want to do it for somebody else, or do you want to do it for your family? Where does it come from? And I have been talking about this for 30 years. It's just a question that I've been asking myself. And self-reflection, and I've spent so much time with this. The three most important questions you're ever going to ask is, who am I, what do I do, and why do I do it? If you're listening to the sound of my voice right now, these questions are the three most important questions you'll ever ask. Raise your hand if you're a team member in here, staff. I'm speaking to all of you. This goes for you just as much as it does anybody in this room. Listen, everyone sitting here, this day is not about specifically just being a chiropractor. It's about being a human being and about achieving and accomplishing and experiencing your potential and your God-given gifts and what you've been called to do. Now, how's pretty important too. And then when CAs are over in their class with Carissa and Angelica and Bronny, then we're going to talk about the how. But right now, what I really, really want to focus on, you guys, is who am I? I want you to, and you all got your notes? Okay? I want you to spend some time with us. We're going to break this stuff down. When I say, who am I? What does that mean? Today, this first hour could possibly be the most important and most transformational hour of your life if you will allow it. I want you to think about this. Who you are is more important than what you do. Who you are is more important than what you do. Because whatever you're doing will be a reflection of who you are. There's so many chiropractors in here, and there's so many people in here that are some of the most amazing human beings. Where's Jimmy Campbell? Way over here. An example of amazing human being. If you know Jim Campbell, you all will agree with me. And what he's doing in his life, and what he's always done in his life, and you guys that know him well will understand that you see what he's doing and you understand why he's doing it because you know who he is. And that's what I want you guys to ask yourself. And we're going to get into this right now. We're going to talk about, who are you? It's a tough question. Is anyone in the room ever just, or am I only damn weirdo, which I'm pretty weird, just sat and like, who are you? I mean, no, like really, who are you? I read this quote and it really led me to something. When I let go to what I am, I become what I might be. When I let go of what I am, I become what I might be. Not your title. Listen, when I ask you who you are, I don't want your title. I don't want mother, father, CA, doctor, chiropractor. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the title. I'm talking about who you are in your core. And I'm going to say it again. If you're listening to these words in this room, I'm speaking to you. I'm speaking to me. Listen, you guys got to understand something. I know you've all been to a lot of seminars and you've been to other coaching groups and you watch other videos. I get that and I respect that. So did I. So have I. So do I. But today it's not about me. It's not about anything other than you. And I've got to pour into you. I have got to wake you up on the inside. And you got to ask in your core, when no one's looking, when you're by yourself, Dr. Denise, who are you? Not what do you do, but who are you? When you're alone with your thoughts, I want you to follow me on this. This is kind of a crazy thing. When you all are alone with your thoughts, when you're just by yourself, you're driving, someone cuts you off. You're at the gym, working out, somebody about 300 pounds walks by. You're at the airport, somebody with bright orange hair and a mask sits next to you. I don't know why I come up with that one. Where do those thoughts come from? Where are they generated? Where are they generated? It's interesting. I bring up being at the gym. I was there early Thursday morning and working out, and I look over and there's a trainer working with a young lady, and she was every bit of 450, 500 pounds, right? And I mean, she was trying to get her to do these exercises. I mean, she had about this much range of motion, just, and I'm going to admit it because this is why I'm bringing this up. I am as transparent. I am nobody damn special. I'm not perfect at all. And this is why it really hit me. My first instinct was, first of all, good Lord, how did you allow that to happen? Right? Being honest. Second of all, what do you really think you're going to accomplish? And then it hit me. What an asshole. Who in the hell do you think you are? She's here. She's here. And then I got upset with myself. Like, and then you guys, I asked that question I'm asking you. Where'd that come from? Where did that ego-based bullshit come from? Now I know that I'm the only one in the room that's ever done anything like that, right? It's just me. I know. But instead of getting mad about it, instead of getting upset with myself, on the way home, I kept replaying it. And it's not the first time. You guys know what I'm talking about. Someone cuts you off in traffic and immediately you are the greatest driver on the planet and it's actually your highway. I cannot believe that you had the audacity to drive on my road, right? If you're in that big a hurry, you should have left 20 minutes ago. You get it? Where does those things come from? And then on the way home, that's what I kept playing. It's like, where was that created? Because that's my core. That's the core essence. And this is what sucks, is I consider myself a pretty damn good person. I am really proud of who I am. Foundation members, you guys watch, Foundation 1, personal development, personal philosophy, right? And what do we talk about? You have to love, honor, and respect yourself. If you don't, no one else will either. And I really felt pretty good about that. But then something like that happens. I'm like, where does that come from? Because, in my opinion, what I'm doing reflects that. That's not the reflection I want. Is it the reflection you guys want? So when you're alone with your thoughts, I want you to ask, where do they come from? Now, with that being said, so we're all on the same page that we have issues. Yes? Say yes. I'm pretty sure we all have issues, right? And if that's the case, and we recognize those and we understand that there's things we need to work on, then I'm going to ask you this question. Are you consciously and actively working to improve who you are? Or are you just good enough? It's not me. It's not, well, all this personal development stuff, this self-help stuff, that's nice for you. It's not me. It's everybody else. It's not my problem. It's not my problem that all these issues in my life, not because of me. I'm good enough. Are you consciously and actively working to improve who you are? And that's what's crazy is I'm sitting there asking myself, Where the hell do those thoughts come from? Now, the whole mask thing, I know where that comes from. It just pisses me off. So it's just what it is. It's a reflection of how the world was turned against us, and so many people bought into it. And I'm like, good Lord. But instead of getting mad about it, I should feel sorry for those people, that they don't have the knowledge that we have, right? You know, I'll give you this is what's funny is, it's funny, ironic, sad, funny, haha. When COVID hit, we were in New Zealand on a big trip, and there was a group of us, a group of my friends, and my phone blew up. A lot of you called me. The whole world is coming to an end. What do we do? And I'm on my phone in New Zealand. It hadn't hit over there. I'm mountain climbing. Like, what are y'all talking about? This is the greatest day ever. And then, oh shit, right? And then when I started seeing the news and here it is and blah, 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 I walked into the house and I made this comment. I said, you guys, calm down. I said, all this is about is a vaccine. And one of my friends, good friend, and they were in a panic. I mean, and that's kind of their personalities, but flipped around on me and said, basically talking to me like because I'm the crazy chiropractor in the group. You can only imagine. You guys probably have that in groups too. There's not even a vaccine created. There's no vaccine for this. And I started to laugh and I go, oh yeah, there is. Y'all just don't know about it. I promise you there's already a vaccine. If you guys looked at the COVID vaccine patent, what year it came out? It was about 8 years before COVID ever hit. So this has been in the works. Well, that pissed them off. It's interesting. You ever heard the sound of crickets? That's what I hear now. We don't want to talk about that. We don't want to talk about it. Because I'll bring it up. You remember? Remember I kind of mentioned that this was all about a damn vaccine, and now it's coming out that it was only about the vaccine that was created in a lab, right? Well, we were just trying to do the right thing. You guys all hear that, right? So instead of being angry, I understand that we're different. We've been given a gift. We understand where health comes from. We have a better understanding of what's really going on in the world. We don't get our health advice from CNN or ABC News. So many people do. You guys know that, right? And so when your patients come in your office, you have to understand that who you are in your core is so important, because the words you choose and the way you say them and the way you adjust is a reflection of who you are. But it doesn't come easily. We're talking about who you are and a reflection. So when you're batshit crazy, it reflects in what you do. Like Carl's wife. She's out there running how many miles? Just 10 today. But she ran 30 the other day? Yeah, she ran 30 miles. She's going to run 50 miles. That's crazy. Jane knows I love her. But she's going to run 50 miles. She's going to run this ultra, right? Who wants to run 50 miles? I don't want to run, period, let alone 50 miles. But the fact that she got up this morning and ran an easy 10 miles and she's pushing herself is a reflection. What she's doing this running is who she is in her core. She has a specific goal. And respectfully, how old is Jane? 57 years old, she's going to run 50 miles. Seriously? That's here. But what she's doing is so impressive. I'm giving her a hard time. I'm teasing her because she's not here. I'm scared of her. But the fact is, Jane is reflecting who she is to her core. Do you guys feel what I'm saying about this? Do you understand how important what I'm saying is? That the things you do come from inside. And if you're not actively pursuing improvement, then this time next year you're sitting here in the same damn seat, the same person doing the same things. Who wants that? Anyone? I'm just assuming that the reason you came here is because you want personal growth, which leads to practice growth, which leads to healthy income, a great family. Everybody say yes? It starts right here. It starts right here. Now listen. We're going to do a mental exercise. I spent time with Patrick Gentempo. Who knows who Patrick is? He's an amazing human being. He's one of my personal coaches. And years ago, we spent the whole weekend at his house, and he had us do this. And I want you all, we're just going to take just a second. I'm not going to spend a lot of time with this, but I think you're going to appreciate this. I want you to write a name down. Right? Get ready. Hang on. I'm going to have you write a name down of one person that you absolutely admire the most. That if you could trade places with this person, you would do it today. Write that name down. Angelica, give me some water. All right, we're just going to give you a couple minutes. When I did this exercise, just like that, I knew exactly who it was. I knew exactly who it was. Okay? Now, everybody got your name? Thank you, dear. Everybody say, thank you, Angelica. She's my new little rock star. Now, I want you to just list, 4, 5, 6 characteristics, things about that person that you admire. Whatever that may be. Why would you trade places? What is it about them that makes you want to be like that person? Has anybody ever done this before? A couple of you? And I'm going to tell you why this is so important in just a second. This is really an important exercise. And here's what I want you all to do. I want you to keep this piece of paper. I want you to keep these notes. I want you to lay them on your desk at home or lay them at your desk at the office, wherever you see it. And as a constant reminder. Okay? We all got it? Just a few. Now, here's what you do. You write that person's name down, you think about them, you write their characteristics down, and then you do this. Go do that. Go be that. Isn't it crazy how easy that is? I had a battle between two of them. I'll share my two. Can you guys guess who it is? What is it? There's a bunch of us. So I got a whole bunch of heroes right now. Well, when I did this exercise, I had two people that jump in my head that have been my heroes. One of them since I was in the 8th grade, and one of them since I turned about, 30. First one was obviously Arnold. Right? And not only, here's the thing, if you follow Arnold's life, if anybody's watched his documentary knows anything about, now has he made mistakes? Yes. But let's just call it what it is. From the time he came over here from Austria, speaking no English, conquered the freaking world. If you think about it. Conquered the bodybuilding world, conquered the movie world, conquered the political world. He's just damn near done it all. And a lot of people don't know this, but he was a millionaire before he ever made his first movie. He didn't have to take roles. He took the roles, he told them what he was going to do. As a brand new actor that had a funny language, that a funny accent, and a monster, so he didn't fit any roles, but he said, this is what I'm going to do, because he already had so much money, because what he did was, him and Franco, you guys know his best friend, training partner was a chiropractor? He put Franco through chiropractic school. Pretty cool. I actually got to meet Franco and talk to him, but when they were bodybuilding, trying to make money, they were doing construction work and bricklaying. And then Arnold saved every dime he had. And then he bought a property. Then he bought another property. Then he invested in real estate. He had a portfolio that was ridiculous that no one ever knew about. He was a multimillionaire before he ever made his first movie. So I respect that man. I look at his work ethic and the things that he did. Right? So that was one of them. Well, my other one, obviously, Tony Robbins. Right? I mean, Tony, in the last 40 years, he has impacted and helped more people than anyone on this planet, other than Jesus. I mean, I'm just saying. Let's put that in perspective. But Tony, if you don't know about Tony Robbins, the man he's insane. He's 60-some years old, and he can do what I'm doing right now, 16 hours straight for 4 damn days, and he's been doing it for 40 years. It's crazy, and he has such a drive and such a passion. So I look at the characteristics and the things about these men that I respect and look up to. And I write those things down. And that's what I want you to do. I want you to write those things down. And then go do that. They're bold. They're outspoken. They work hard. They have great character. Whatever those is, you just do that. Yes? Yes?
Yes.
Thank you. Losing you. I want you guys to take responsibility for your own personal development. You are not a victim of anything but your own self-imposed limitations. You, Tom Slay, I know you're doing it. I can't wait to hear Tommy talk today. He's going to talk about this. But you know what? He's wearing the shirt. What's our theme for the year? Discipline. He brought me the shirt. Thank you. You guys, we'll all be seeing this on the next Tuesday Night Live, right? Yeah. He took responsibility for his own development. He had surgery. He'll talk about it. Everything he's been through. This guy's been through a lot. A lot of us have been through a lot. If you've been through a lot in your life, say yes. Yes. Yeah, we've all been there, right? But it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant what you've been through. It's irrelevant what happened. The only thing that's relevant is what did you do about it? Did you take responsibility? Tom did. Got his ass back in the gym. Started watching the videos again. I get text messages almost every morning. Hold himself accountable. If you're hearing my voice right now in this room, you are responsible for your own personal development, your own self-development. You are not a victim. You're not. The only thing you could ever become a victim of is your own self-imposed limitations that you put on yourself. It's ridiculous. Other people can tell you you can't, but you made the decision to actually accept that or not. See, that's what's crazy about what God did to us. He gave us a gift. This gift of knowledge, this understanding where health comes from. So it's an amazing gift. Do you all agree? Say yes? All right, so this gift that He's given us came with another gift. And this gift was kind of a double-edged sword. It's the gift of choice. You can choose to take your gift and do something special with it or not. I believe in my heart that every chiropractor that was called to become a chiropractor was called by our Creator to go do something special. We went to chiropractic school and we was delivered this message. Now, the message might have been pretty well distorted. You all know what I mean, depending on what school you went to. But it's the message irregardless. Then we get out of school and then we have to make a decision. What are we going to do with that message? Shannon Black, you received a message, went to school, and then through a course of events, that message got put on the back burner, and life kind of beat your ass a little bit, right? I love this girl probably as much as anybody in my own family. You're very special to me, and I know your story. And if you all don't know Shannon, do yourself a favor. Hug her, get to know her. Your life will improve. But you made a decision, Shannon, and you was at Focus, right? And then God said, all right, Shannon, I'm going to give you this message again. I'm taking the gift off the back burner and I'm going to hand it to you again. Here you go. She made a decision and boom, life changed. It's a beautiful life. I mean, what you get to live and experience, we're living vicariously through, and it's just a beautiful thing to watch. Twins, 2 kids. How many presents did you buy them this year? I'm calling you out. Well, how many?
Over 150.
She sent me a picture of their Christmas tree. 2 little kids had 150 gifts. Adopt me. But here's what's beautiful about that. Shannon and I talk about this all the time. We remember the very first time this is when we had Toys R Us. That's how long ago it was. The very first time that we went to Toys R Us and we walked in and bought our 3 kids Christmas presents, and we did not care how much they cost. We didn't look at how much it was. We had no budget. We bought them what we wanted to buy them. And we loaded that truck up, and as we're walking across the parking lot, we both teared up. Like, wow. Look at this life. But I'm going to tell you, as I stand here in front of you, as my God is my witness, The reason we were able to do that is I did not go to the office to buy those kids Christmas gifts. I was given a gift of understanding, and I went with a passion and a fury like no other. I refused to let one person down. Dr. Gibson said, move the bone and get out of the way, and health will restore, and that's what I did. And this is what I want you guys to understand. I took responsibility. I'm not a victim. Shannon and I have been through all kinds of crazy things. Through our lives, it is insane some of the things we were up against. We didn't ever say, oh, poor us. Time to go to work. Time to go to work. This personal development journey, for me, started January of 1999 in Fort Worth, Texas. I went to I was part of another coaching group, and it was my second meeting. Shannon and I had just opened the practice. I mean, just opened it. And it was a big group, and Shannon and I get on an elevator, and this gentleman gets on the elevator with us. And he just, one of the kindest human beings, and just starts talking, and he hands me this book, Jim Campbell. Out of the blue. I don't know this man. He just hands this book to me. And he says, this is for you. Thank you. I had never, I read Dean Koontz. If you don't know who that is, just a writer. Never, this is the first personal development, coaching, whatever you want to call it, book I ever read. And Jim didn't know me. First time he saw me, for whatever reason, God laid it on his heart. He handed me this book. Okay. Now this one, I didn't bring the original. I brought this one because I wanted to share it with you. Tim, may this book support you in every area of your life. Thanks for your support. Cordially, Jim Mapes, the author. Jim got to know the author, and he signed this book for me. It's one of my prized possessions. This started it all. What I did was, when I read this book, it changed the way I thought. All the things I had in my heart, all the things that I carried with me in there, stirred them and started aligning them, started putting them in order. Like my thoughts and my emotions, like, okay, all this crazy stuff, all these goals and all these stresses and all these things that I'm dealing with, it started to align them. This is the first one. I probably read, I don't know, we talk about it all the time, over 500 of these now. This is the one that started it all. Because you guys, listen, I refuse to be a victim. And I was not going to put a self-limitation on myself. And neither should you. Everyone in this room has an opportunity to do something bigger and better, but you can't put a self-limitation on yourself. So, I'm going to share something personal with you guys. And it was a lesson that I learned, but I want to share this with you. Believe it or not, I'm just like you. And those that know me, Brett Kester, that you're going, really? Yeah. You know me. But there was a day many years ago. You got a little boy, I got a little girl, and another little girl. So I'm a dad, I'm a husband, I'm a chiropractor, I'm a football coach, I'm a bodybuilder, I'm a dad that goes to Girl Scout meetings, I'm the gymnastic dad that, like, if you've ever been to a gymnastic meet, you see all the moms sitting in the crowd, right? They're all sitting there and they have their sheets and they're keeping track of every score so they know where their kid is and where the team is. So there's like 15 women and me. I'm right in the middle of it. I know what every score is. I was that dad. And so what happens is you take on all these hats and all these responsibilities, and it damn near crushed me. There come a point to where and let's just throw all this. This is something I'll always forget to, like, add to the mix of all these things. Because fellas, I'm talking to you right now. Ladies, I'm not a lady, so I don't know the craziness that goes on in your head. I just know it does, right? But as guys, we're idiots. So I'm carrying a lot of idiot stuff with me, a lot of past behaviors and past thoughts and past experiences. You guys know what I'm talking about. As a teenager, growing up where I grew up and watching my father, God rest his soul, and then, you know, the friends that I ran around with and being in the Navy and then all these crazy things. And so you have all these habits and all these things that you carry with you that are still in you. Like you try not to be that person, but they're still there. Fellas, you know what I'm talking about? Yep. I don't care. I'm damn near 60 and she says I'm 11 all the time. Which, okay. So, I have all these things I'm dealing with. Couldn't handle it. I don't know what to do next. I got to where I couldn't breathe. And here's what's even crazy about it. God, we were doing well. Brand new house, new cars, money in the bank. We weren't struggling financially. It was just, I felt like I couldn't live up to all of the things. I wasn't doing it right. Has anyone ever felt that way? Say yes. So, I got in the phone book, and God led me to a man named John Hall, a counselor. And I made an appointment. Now, you have to understand, this is a pretty big deal for this guy. Mr. Ego, bodybuilder, tough man. I don't need no damn help. I needed help. So, I called John. I go in for an appointment. It was like $200 an hour, you know, and I didn't care. You know, I need help. And it was the most ironic thing. This man, we almost paralleled each other's lives. He was 10 years older, married, had two daughters that he adopted, and then they had a son together. Just like us. One of his daughters was in chiropractic school. It's like, what are the odds? Right? And so we just talked for an hour, and I just spilled all this out. And after that hour, I left there a complete different human being. And this is the lesson he taught me. Do not make what you are supposed to be more important than who you are. You guys, does that resonate with anybody here? Does that make sense? All the things. I was supposed to be the perfect husband. I was supposed to be the perfect father, the perfect coach, the perfect chiropractor. I was supposed to be good and the best at all these things. Now, here's the thing. Who said that? Me. But that's how I felt. I felt like I was failing at being the best at these things. I was failing at being the best husband. I know I was. I damn sure failed at being the best dad. I know that I did. We talk about it. Sometimes I look back at some of the things I did like, what was wrong with you? Anybody ever felt that way? Say yes. But then when John said, don't let these things that you said or someone else said you're supposed to be replace who you are. And then it hit me. Well, who? It goes back to the very first question. Well, then who are you? You know what? I'm good. I'm good. Dr. Christie, I'm good. You're good. In my heart, I make mistakes, but my intention is always for the right thing. I love hard because it's right. I'm good. And then when I realized that I'm good and I can build upon that was the most important thing, then the responsibility and the weight of all these other things that some of you all feel went away. Went away. Because I learned way back then, and what I'm sharing with you now, all the things that you're supposed to be, all the things that you're supposed to do, just reflects on who you are. So, I want you guys to spend time with this. Life is going to get tough, say yes. Some of us are going through some pretty traumatic things right now. I'm not gonna say any names, but we have foundations. Listen, we have family members in this group. If you're here for the first time, raise your hand for me. Okay. Welcome to the Focus family. This is a special place. I hope you guys feel that. People in this room, we're all family, aren't we? Say yes. And we care about each other. And we have got some family members going through some very, very tough things right now. Health things, personal things. It's rough. It's life, man. And we all deal with it. So, If you are a praying person, which I hope that you are, please keep the Focus family in your prayers. But what I want you to do is I want you to look at your own life, and I want you to ask yourself these questions that we talked about this morning. Where do your thoughts come from? Are you taking responsibility for your own personal development? Are you looking in the mirror and asking the tough question, who are you? Not what you are, who are you? And then if you don't like what you see, if you're not really comfortable with that person, what have you done about it? What have you read? This is Quantum Leap Thinking by James Mapes. If you haven't read this book, highly recommend it. Right, Jimmy? Right? It changed my life, Jim. You changed my life. You changed my life every time I look at you. It makes my heart happy. But I want you guys to remember this. Always, who you are is so much more important than what you are or what you do. Because everything you do, and listen, as chiropractors, when we walk into the office and a patient lays on this table and you lay hands on, who you are as a human being to your core is what you're delivering within that adjustment. That who you are in your core, your thoughts, your words before you get there, your actions before you get there, has nothing to do with a chiropractic adjustment, you're sadly mistaken. You're sadly mistaken. And some of you might be wondering, why is my practice not growing? Because you're confusing this very thought. You're confusing the fact that when you make an adjustment, who you are isn't important, and it's everything. It's everything. I had a doctor reach out to me here recently, and he's going through a ton of personal things. He had between 5 and 600 a week practice, and it tanked. To him, it tanked to like 325, right? Almost half is gone. And he reaches out to me, and you should see the text message. It's one of those scrolls, right? And I took a deep breath, and I told Shannon, I was like, shoo, okay, I gotta get my coffee and get ready for this one. And so I asked him a few questions, and I said, do me a favor, send me your morning routine. And so he did. And it was just, I get up at this time, I drink my water, I drink my coffee, I do this, and then I spend time with the kids, and he went through this whole day routine. And I text him back, and I said, well, here's what's interesting is I read this, and it's great. I said, but are you married? He texted back, he messaged me back, yes. It's interesting. I did not see one thing about your wife. Oh. When's the last time you went on date night or went on just the two of you went on a trip? Well, we go on date night sometimes, but it's been years since we've wished just the two of us. Okay. I said, I'm going to make a suggestion. I waited. I'm learning to do that. If you guys know me well enough, been coaching calls, you know that I get wound up and it's like, Lord, Doc, I had 3 words in this whole coaching call. And I said, I'm going to make a suggestion. Every thought, word, and action from the time your feet hit the ground is in an attempt to honor your wife with everything you do, with everything you say, with every action in those words, thoughts, and actions is a representation on how much you honor that woman. God gave her to you. It's a gift. And you said I do, she said I do, now go do. And he texted me back and said, damn, Doc. It took me too long to find it. I read it to Shannon. I just got a message from him this week. I think it was the day before yesterday. And he said, Doc, I've been honoring my wife with every thought, word, and action. He said, I've never seen her so happy. She literally dances and skips and sings through the house. He said, and my life is so good right now. Thank you. My day is made. Now, why does that matter? Why does that matter? Because when he is honoring her, that's an energy that you can't fake it. You create it. It's creating that who you are. And then by honoring her, you see the change in her. Ladies, it goes the opposite. it's your spouse. You see the change in that person, and it makes you happy. It brings joy to your heart. When she has joy, when he has joy, you have joy. And then you go to your office and you go to your ladies and you say, "Good morning, ladies." I walk through the door and ask them. Don't I come bouncing through that door? And it isn't, "Hi, girls. Morning, ladies. What's going on today?" That's how I come through the door. Why? Because I get to wake up next to her. And my life is complete, and I am happy, and I have joy because I honor. That, like in the morning when I make the coffee, and then I'll clean the coffee cups. We have these automatic coffee cups that heat. Have you got those? These are the best, right? They keep your coffee hot, right? So you keep them on a little charger, and you put your coffee in it. It keeps it hot. It doesn't get cold. They're great. Anyway, so first thing in the morning when about 7 o'clock, I make her coffee and I set it right next to her bed, and it's waiting on her when she wakes up. I turn the TV on. I get everything. It's what I do. And then when she's done, I go in and I clean her coffee cup, and then I clean it, and then I dry it out, and then I put it up, and then what I do is the towel that I dried it with, it's got to be folded perfectly and put back in the drawer. Now, I'm not, what do they call that? Compulsive? Yeah, I'm not. Trust me, I'm not. Why do I do that? Because if I thought that she opened that drawer and it was just thrown in there like that, the thought is like, "Are you kidding me?" Now she has to do that a lot anyway, because I drop the ball a lot. It's like, what the hell? But I'm saying my point is, my action, my attempt to create that energy, to create that joy, to honor her, comes in my heart and makes me feel so good about myself and what I'm doing in my life. And then I go in and the patient comes in and they lay face down and I give that adjustment. "Doc, that's the best. No one adjusts like you. Nobody, Dr. Young, I've been a chiropractor for years. Nobody adjusts like you." Why do they say that? They walk through the door. Ask Carissa and the girls. The patients will walk in that office and they'll stop. They just walk through the front door. They stop and they go, "I feel better just being here." Where does that come from? Right here. Because what you do, your practice, your relationships, your income, your life, listen to me. Everyone hearing my voice, your life is a direct reflection of who you are. Go be that person. Every day, your feet hits the ground. The way I do anything is the way I do everything. And the way you're going to do it is you're going to be the best version of you. And you don't do it just today. You don't do it tomorrow. Tommy Slay, you don't just do it when you feel like it. You do it anyway. Yes? Everybody say yes! Yes. How about that for a good morning? Are we good? Yes. My attempt was to rattle your cage a little bit, to speak into you. Did I do a little bit of that? Yes. All right. Now listen, we got a whole day of this, so don't get tired yet. We're going to shift gears. We're going to shift gears. We're going to have an amazing chiropractor come up next. He has been a great friend, him and his family, for years. He has a message, something that I've been wanting to share with you guys. I've been asked for this information. So he's going to come up, and if he will come up here, can I get Dr. Jeremy Roderick? Let's hear it for him. Let me help you with this. He's kind of a hillbilly, so you got to stick with him.
Is that better than the redneck?
You wear that proudly, don't you? Here, put that in your pocket. And then I'm going to put this here because this records so everybody can hear you. And there's this.
All right.
And that's all you, my brother.
Which button? Which one changes?
The big one.
Big one. Okay. All right. Yes, this has been a long time coming. Shannon called me out last night. Things happen. I think the first time I was supposed to speak is San Diego. Fractured 3 ribs, displaced 1. I wasn't going to travel. Of course, Dr. Young, he's awesome. Don't worry about it. You can speak at the next one. Have a death in the family? Can't come. Not making excuses, Shannon. And then my proud moment is the next one. He said, like, you speak at the next one. Well, my daughter's graduating from chiropractic school. She's having a little panic attack. Needs me to come down to Atlanta. I'm like, I'm going to do that. So here I am. I'm honored to be here, and I appreciate it. So I've been in practice for 24 years, Baldwin City, Kansas. And as much as I want to talk about chiropractic today, I've been asked to talk about something else. So it's money. We're going to also talk about having a scarcity mindset versus an abundance and growth mindset. We're going to talk about being an employee in your office versus becoming an evolution boss. This may be controversial, what I'm about to say, but practice owners, you are a business owner first. That just happens to be a chiropractor. You're a business owner first that happens to be a chiropractor. And if you have to go into your office to produce an income to pay your personal finances, you're an employee. You're an employee of your office. If your livelihood requires you to go into your office to produce income for your office, you have a job. Now, I'm not saying this is a bad thing, but there is a way to have financial freedom and not be a slave to your office. I want to talk about having financial security in your office and financial freedom in your life. And I know we're all servants. We're servants at heart. We have to have a business mind to serve the masses. And we have to have an abundance mindset to do that to the max of our ability. Who in here has ever been afraid of not making enough money? A lot of us. If you're not now, I bet the vast majority of us have had that at some point in our life. This can start in childhood. Your parents, grandparents may have said, money's a bad thing. That may have been the perception. You know, they might have talked about people with wealth, and oh yeah, they had to step on a lot of toes to get there. Maybe you didn't grow up with much, so you don't think you deserve to have money. And it's nothing to be ashamed of, but we have to shift our belief pattern. There's other things that can cause scarcity, events beyond our control. And I do want to get a gauge of my audience. Who's been in practice 24 years or more? Okay, you guys are going to relate to this. You younger docs, you might have been in diapers when the story took place. I just aged us all. So when I opened my practice in January of 2001, man, I hit the ground running. I didn't have a lot of responsibility. I was raring to go, and my practice went like this. And things were going good. Then a national event hit. 9/11. We're all familiar with that. I'll never forget the first patient to walk through my door and the fear on her face. And I know she saw the fear on mine. I know my mom called me and she was flipping out and we're going to World War. You might be drafted. You know, all these thoughts because there's a lot of fear. I was starting to enter that scarcity mindset. Also, my stepfather passed away. We were close. Then I get some exciting news. New baby on the way. And to back up a little more, when I was going to Baldwin to open my practice, there was nowhere to set up. But they were building a new complex that was going to be ready at the end of the year. So I found this little 3-room office. The problem with it, you had to walk down a long alleyway, through a door, through a dark hallway, into my office. Cool part, $350 a month rent. That included utilities. So here I am. The world's chaos. My life kind of is. I'm grieving. I'm getting ready to move into a new office, much larger overhead, hiring another employee. I should be excited about this, but I have fear. How am I going to cover my expenses? How am I going to grow up and be an adult and take care of a kid? All these different things. I start retreating, closing down. My practice starts going like this. Fortunately, I had a good mentor. So I called up the doc I preceptored with, told him what was going on. He asked me a simple question. A lot of us have heard this before, but he just asked me, he goes, what were you doing that got you rocking and rolling in the first place? It's like a light bulb went off. Okay, get back to doing that. That's what I did. I stepped out of that mindset. I needed someone to wake me up. But I also vowed I was going to learn everything I could about money and having security. So I didn't have those fears of production, different things like that. So life's rolling along. Practice is going great. Some of you have heard this story, but I think it bears repeating because I have security in my life. But a Blue Cross Blue Shield rep walks into my office and she's like, we're going to do an educational audit. There's a lot of chiropractors in the state of Kansas that are doing things wrong. So we're not going to take money, but we're going to come in, we're going to ask for patient files, do an audit, tell you what you're doing wrong. That day comes, a couple weeks later, get the audit back, fail. Here's everything you did wrong. All right, team, let's improve our notes, That's all it really was. So we make the changes. A couple months go by, another audit. Fail. You need to fix these things now. Thought we fixed things. A couple months go by, another audit. Fail. So, I'm getting starting to hit that tipping point. Plus, I kind of feel like I'm doing something wrong, like from a moral standpoint. All these different things are going through my head. Hire a compliancy guy. He even has connections with Blue Cross Blue Shield of Kansas. What do you want in these notes? They design all my macros, get all these things going. Here's the treatment plans you should be doing. I change those. Don't ever do that. Stop telling the truth. Now I'm going against what I believe. But I made that mistake. So, another audit, another fail. Now, I'm going into some places I shouldn't have went mentally. But it's getting worse. So they're like, we're going to do an educational meeting with you. We want you to come to the headquarters, Blue Cross Blue Shield headquarters, and we're going to educate you. So I go to this meeting into a big conference room. My rep's right here. There's all these other people in the room. Medical doctor over here who's the head of the audit. Across from me, former Kansas Chiropractic Association president. They're being friendly at first, like asking me about my life, talking about theirs. This is just like this. I knew this was going to be an ambush because I wasn't the only one going through it. I knew what was going to happen. So I thought I was a little prepared. Well, they just start pulling out notes. Doc across from me is reading them, telling me everything I'm doing wrong, how docs like us are bad for the profession, all these different things. After about 20 minutes, I'm like, okay, I get it. I get it. So I'm ready. I have notes, my new notes again. Ready. I'm ready. Here's what I'm doing. Treatment plan. Here's this and that. Here's why I'm doing it. Before I can even start, the medical doctor, head auditor, asked to see he goes, hand me that note. So I hand it to him. He goes, give me the next date of service. So I give it to him. I'm not exaggerating. This is what he does. He goes, here's what we do when I see notes like this. We hold it up to the light. We call it the light test. Fail. I don't know if he said fail, but we're not even going to read it. We don't accept canned notes. So, even though I knew what was going to happen, I left there in this dark place. I'm self-medicating, ignoring my family. Things are not good. My practice isn't terrible, but I don't want to go in there. I don't want to see a Blue Cross patient. I don't want to see any insurance patient. But I am so tunnel visioned, I don't know what to do. But it's Focus OKC time. And I don't want to go. Family tradition. Again, I'm proud my kids would go. My staff's ready to go. They dragged me along. I'm not really listening, but a doctor's on stage, and he's talking about, it's not my situation, but he talked about how he leveraged insurance to get him in, but he converts him to cash because he's a wellness doc. That's what I need. I went right up to him. Told him my story. Can you help me? Which he did. We got rid of Blue Cross. And the next year, we had our biggest year ever in practice. I got out of that scarcity mindset. And that's the thing. When you have this scarcity mindset, you get tunnel vision, you can't see opportunities. You make bad decisions. When you get in that abundance growth mindset, you leverage what you got. You can see where you can leverage. You can see where you can grow. Now there's going to be more events like 9/11, the housing crash, 08-09, personal tragedies, personal events. And the most recent, which was brought up, and what brought this talk, why we're doing this, is because of the COVID lockdowns. Amelia and I, our former associates, we knew they were going to open a practice. They opened up in Colorado. They were open 30 days. The government said, shut your door. Can't imagine. But the thing is, there were established docs that went through that, but they saw a drop in their volume. They had fear. They're like, I don't know how I'm going to pay my bills. There's a lot of docs that felt like this, I'm sure. Well, I know because I talked to some, and I know Tim talked to a bunch. They learned a lesson, right? We need to be prepared. We need to be prepared for these tough times from a financial standpoint. And that's what we're going to get into. I want to talk about how to create that financial security in your office. Some of this may be review for you, all of you. Some of it may be new. But who in here has heard of CPPV? Cost per patient visit. Yeah. I think this is important to know. And if you're not familiar with it, this is your cost per patient visit. So basically, whatever your overhead is, when that patient walks through the door and pays you money, a certain percentage of that is covering your overhead so you can keep your door open. So how to figure this is you need to look at your overhead, look at all your fixed expenses, your rent, mortgage, utilities, salary and payroll taxes. Docs, when you're figuring this, just look at your W-2, not the draws and all that. Just your W-2 goes in this. Insurance malpractice, whatever it is, right? Also look at your variable costs. It got cut off, but that's like your supplies, face paper, HIPAA forms, cost of goods sold if you're selling supplements or DMEs. Add that up. Then you want to determine your average monthly patient volume. And then use this formula. Cost per patient visit is your total monthly expenses divided by your monthly volume. Do this over a 12-month period if you've never done this. Now here's an example calculation which is cut off, but not very good at this. And I use simple math here, guys. I need this to be simple. But let's say your overhead's $20,000 a month, and you're seeing 500 patient visits a month on average. Low for this group, I know. Again, simple. That means your CPPV would be 40. So every patient that walks through the door, $40 of that income is going towards your overhead. And we need this to be healthy. We know from a chiropractic standpoint, we should probably charge more. We know the value of an adjustment. We've heard people up here speaking about it. It's worth $50, $100, $1,000. priceless. But from a business standpoint, we need this to be healthy. So, if your average collection per visit is $70 and your CPPV is $40, you're profiting $30 a visit. Pretty healthy. Means it's an extra $15,000 a month of income. But if your average collection per visit is $35, you're losing $5 a visit. You're not going to be in business very long to be able to cover your overhead. So this is just something to kind of get that clear. Let's set our price point from a business standpoint. Let's make sure that's healthy. Now, you don't necessarily just want to set the price. We need to look at other things from a business mind. If this is out of balance, you can reduce your overhead cost. Now, docs have been in practice long enough. We have things leaking out. No different in our personal life. We purchase one of those monthly memberships and then another, and we forget about it. We never use it. And all of a sudden we look at our credit card statement for real. Like, I got 7 of these I haven't used in a year. Same thing happens in our practice. Increase our visit volume. That's why we're here. We want to grow. Increase that per visit revenue. What are you charging? What's your cash price? And then introduce passive revenue streams. Even doing straight chiropractic, you can do this. I know Dr. Young spoke about this recently. But for your cash patients, do a re-exam and charge them. That's built into their plan. Whatever that looks like, even if it's just another mini consult. It's your time. You deserve to get paid for that. Update x-rays, we've heard this, but that will all add to that per patient visit average. So, creating financial security in your office. Question, how much should we have in our business checking business savings or money market at all times? 3 months overhead, good. 3 months overhead at all time. We want this. It gives us this security. I mean, God forbid our income went straight to zero. But we have 3 months to figure it out, to get our mind right, to get our whatever we need to do corrected. You know, if it's a little less, it gives us more time, but it gives us that security to start dealing with problems that are going to come up. Now, some of you may be asking, how do I get there? I've been in practice a long time. I've built a lifestyle over here. Outside of my practice, I have to pull all that money out every month. Well, simply just start saving 10% of your total collections. So if you're collecting $50,000 a month and you need $60,000 in there to have that 3 months, if your overhead's $20,000, it's going to take you about a year. And I suggest not spending any longer than a year. It's going to take discipline, is the word of the year. It's going to take discipline. It might take some lifestyle changes. And if you can't do 10% at first, do what you can, but start taking the steps so we can create that financial security in our office. Very blurry. Don't know what happened. So this is the fun stuff. This is the fun stuff. Becoming an evolution boss, which I define as having financial freedom in your personal life and time freedom in your personal life. Also, not forgetting having that financial security in your office. There's a difference between security and freedom, right? So, to get there, we have to start looking at money differently. I'm going to use the example of the different classes. So, here's how poor people look at money. I'm going to get a job so I can get a paycheck to pay my bills. Go to work, get my paycheck, pay my bills. That's why I need money. That's what their mindset. The middle class is much the same way. They get a job, they get their paycheck, they pay their bills, they're making a little extra, so they save some. But they're very guilty of doing something. They purchase WDLs. This is a wealth depleting liability. So what is a wealth depleting liability? It's buying something you don't need to impress someone you don't know. You know, we're all guilty of this. We've done it. But what else does the middle class do? They purchase it with financing. So now they're paying interest on something they don't need. It's hard to gain wealth if you're paying interest on something you don't need. But what they're really good at is making that payment on time, right? We've got to keep our credit score high so we can acquire more financing. Now, if you want to become wealthy, make one change. Look at money differently. Here's how you become wealthy. So, Tom, if you gave me $100 right now, I could take that money, look at my friends over here. First round is on me at the bar tonight, right? That's what I would do with that $100 if I was not thinking to be wealthy. A wealthy person would want to take that $100 and start acquiring IPAs, an income-producing asset. They want to take that $100 and put it over here so that can eventually return to them. I want to make that 10 $100 bills if I look at that $100 bill. And then what I want to do, which may sound wild to some people, but I want my income-producing assets to pay for all my personal finances. I want it to cover my personal overhead. Then I can walk into my office, make money, right? Produce income to purchase more IPAs, to take care of my family, to take care of our profession, because I can. I'm not worried about how I'm making money to live day to day because I have these IPAs. It may sound impossible, but it's not. And it does not take that long. You have to be disciplined. You have to change your mindset, and you have to be an action taker. You have to do it. Let's clear up some personal overhead. Because if you're wanting to start doing this, this is just a philosophy. What multiple people taught me, but it worked. So looking at your personal overhead, if you haven't figured a personal budget, look at your mortgage, car, rent, utilities, same as in our business, clothes, entertainment, daycare, wherever you're at, kids' education, health insurance, all those miscellaneous things. How much should we have? Since it's cut off, I can ask this. How much should we have in our personal savings at all time? 6 months, right? 6 months. That creates security. So now we have security in our personal life and we have security in our business. So to start saving to acquire IPAs, this can be difficult if your lifestyle is a certain way. But if you're disciplined, live conservative, you can do this. So you want to live off of that personal overhead. You want to live off 50 to 60%. So if you bring home $10,000 a month, your personal overhead should be between $5,000 and $6,000. Simple numbers again. And then you want to take 10 to 20% of that for discretionary. We got to reward ourselves for vacations, birthdays, Christmas. Shannon's is probably about 40%, 150 gifts. Then 10 to 20% to save, to invest in IPAs. And 10% for retirement. Now, I do things differently. I'm kind of the anti-financial advisor. So I bump mine up into IPAs, and I'll explain that a little bit. But again, this is a great budget philosophy. And say you don't need 50 to 60% to cover your personal overhead. Bump it into this IPA section. Or reward yourself a little more. You just need to take some action. So here's how I do things. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm an anti-financial advisor. I'm not against them. There's some good people. I have good friends that are. But I recommend getting a wealth management planner that's fee-based. The reason I want to pay them every month to invest for me to manage this is because a financial advisor may work for a company that wants to put you in certain vehicles that benefit them more. They may not have, it's not that they don't have your best interest, but it may not be the best thing for you. They just know because you're not paying them, that's how they make their money. So they may be required to put you in certain vehicles. But investments you can make for IPAs, syndicates, some of you may have heard of this, they're controversial, but there are good ones. So this is where, for example, Say there's an apartment complex for sale. It's $40 million. I'm not going to go buy that myself, but there's groups out there that will, and they'll look for investors. So you invest and you're part owner. And the income that they make from that apartment complex, you get a piece of it every month or however they pay out. And then let's say this apartment complex in 10 years doubles in price. They're like, hey guys, it's a good time to sell. You get a piece of that sale because you're part owner. Also, I like business startups. I like to be a silent investor, but if there's something I believe in, someone I trust, it's more risky, but I don't mind taking those chances. Love real estate. I'm a farm boy, so I like income producing farm ground. And yes, I have hunting ground too, but it doesn't make much money. Probably could figure out a way because they have the Airbnb for hunting ground now that you can lease it out. Airbnbs, residential and commercial rentals. And this is where I've put vehicles in that it's a self-directed IRA. So basically those investments go towards my retirement. So you can get those tax advantages. Whole life insurance, infinite banking, is anyone doing this? Yeah, there's a few. So it's where you purchase a whole life insurance that has a low death benefit, and then it has a high cash value. So the nice thing about this is that's liquid all the time. You can borrow from it. It earns interest in there tax-free. But if we need a new piece of equipment for our office, instead of dipping into our savings or financing it, we borrow from ourselves. And then we just pay it back as if we had financed it from someone else. So it's a cool way. You just become your own bank. Asset protection. I think this is hugely important. There's all kinds of different ways you can set this up. I mean, family trusts, MSOs, S-corps, LLCs. So in our office does not own our equipment. So we have a separate LLC that owns our equipment, and we lease it to our office. And this is a protection thing because say your staff left a rug rolled up, someone walks through the door, busts their head open, you blow through your liability level, they're suing you for neglect. They can come after your equipment, your cash in the bank. This just protects it because it's over here. We do the same thing with our rentals. We only put so much in there because if we get sued in that LLC, it's protected. It's not going to strip you of everything. Tax strategy. And it's funny that Tim mentioned Arnold Schwarzenegger because this is the first time I realized it. No one actually taught me this. I actually sought it out because when Arnold was running for governor, I remember he released his taxes. He made 20-some million that year. But the line that caught me is his federal income tax paid was $2 million. I was like, man, I just want to make $2 million in a year. And it was like a day later, I'm like, that math doesn't line up. That's less than 10%. What the hell? So I started researching and found a tax lawyer to help me out. And it takes an investment, but I'm telling you, if not in the first year of tax savings, within the second, you will pay for that investment if you get the right person. You can get it all from a good wealth management planner. Because there are tax laws that allow, we heard during the elections, all these billionaires don't pay their fair share, right? Well, they're doing it legally. It's just a talking point. It may be frustrating, but we can do the same. You don't have to be wealthy to avoid these things. You just have to have the knowledge. But I firmly believe we have a responsibility as chiropractors to make money, to become financially independent. Personally, I want time freedom more than anything. I did not want to miss my kids' events. I don't want to miss those things. I have grandkids now. I don't want to miss their events, if by all means I can be there. But also, I want to give back to our profession. And I don't want this to sound weird, but I don't want it to feel like it's affecting me in any way, because I have a desire to do that. So if you can create a life where outside of your office, you're producing enough income just to take care of your personal life. Think of the power that you have. Think of how that can affect your family. Think how you can go into your office with a clear conscience. Again, we're servants. I know how much I've struggled with this. I have charged not enough for an adjustment. I've let people not pay over and over to the sacrifice of my family. I don't regret it, but we deserve to reach our dreams. But also it just helps our profession. That's the main thing. It puts us in, you just stay in that abundance mindset. The pressures are less. But it's not easy. It's going to take discipline. It's going to take some lifestyle changes for most people that want to do this. But I don't want anyone scared again, because there's going to be those events, right? We're going to have something come up. And it may not be in our head. It may be in our community where they can't spend money. They don't want to spend it, right? That may affect our practice. We may have a tragedy where we can't be in our office. But we can figure out ways to keep it running. We, without a thought, can put another chiropractor in there and not worry, about the income there. We can pay them and not figure out how to pay our personal finances. So I hope this helps. And again, this is just the way I've done it. I've been directed by numerous different people. And there it is. If anyone has questions, I'm happy to point them in the right direction. Here's my contact info. Again, it's been an honor. Thank you.
Get all this stuff. Thank you, sir. Let's hear it for Jeremy. Thank you, guys. So the reason I wanted Jeremy to do that, obviously he did an amazing job. I don't know how many years ago it was several years ago, I went and spent time with him to his office. We went and had breakfast, and we're sitting at this little country diner, and we're talking. I was raised just like Jeremy was out in the country, and we're just having the best conversation. And he just nonchalantly says, yeah, I own this building, and I own the building across the street, and then that one down the street, I own that one too. And I'm, what? He owned the whole damn town, right? And he just non-assuming, and he just does things right. Shannon and I, he was talking about, those, getting somebody to help you with tax stuff. Shannon and I use a company called Tax Hive. That's right, Tax Hive. You can Google them. We hired them for the exact same thing that Jeremy was talking about, and what they did was we paid them. It was a significant amount, but they went through everything, and they pretty well guarantee that they will save you as much money as you paid them in the first year. So you're really not spending anything, and they helped us with our trust. They helped us with everything. So, Jeremy, thank you for that. That was amazing. And so if you guys, I'm really, really, especially if you've been in practice for very long, it's something to really look at because you got all these entities. But if you're just getting started, man, start doing it right now. All right. So we're going to take a break. We're going to be back.